Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be quickly running through the books that I read during February 2024. I only read 4 books this month just because I was busy with work. Anyway, I've got the flowers here because it's like February, Valentine's Day. They are dying a bit, these roses. But yeah, I'll get started. First book I read was called Oh My God, What a Complete Aisling. I think that's how you pronounce the name. But anyway, it's from 2 Irish authors wrote it. I think this one was published in 2017 and it's part of a 5-part series. This was the first one, and it's all about this girl. She is 28 years old in the first book, and she's from a farming background, Irish family, Catholic, and it's kind of like an Irish version of Bridget Jones, but then obviously more up to date because it was written only a few years ago. So she's from a small village, and then some of the Irish language and slang used I didn't 100% get just because I am English. But yeah, it was pretty funny. I think you'd definitely enjoy it if you were Irish. So basically, a synopsis of it is that she really wants to get engaged. She's been with her boyfriend John for I think like 6 years or something, but he still hasn't popped the question. And they go away to Tenerife. Doesn't get engaged, but she ends up moving to Dublin and making some friends and kind of living more of that sort of lifestyle, which is very different to how she originally thought her 28th year was going to pan out. And it also covers some more serious topics. So there is a death in the story and the whole like grieving. I really enjoyed it, and also the main character in the book is very much an overthinker like me, and there's some very funny parts. I wouldn't necessarily say that it was laugh out loud funny, but yeah, it is funny. Next, I read a book called A Nurse's Story. So typically I really like these kind of books, so like a medical memoir. I just found her very stuck up and annoying. So I think she's from like very posh background, and she's like sort of be judgmental because her colleagues eat McDonald's and she's never had a McDonald's in her life, and she's in her 30s. Oh, look at her. And she's just very judgmental. It was a bit interesting to see. So she works at A&E, and there were like people coming in like the height of the pandemic that seemed like completely unaware that coronavirus was even a thing, and like they had the symptoms, but they were still thinking, oh yeah, it's okay, I'll go to the doctors. But yeah, but she's just very judgmental, and that really was off-putting for me. Yeah, so she's frustrated by patients and has a very negative outlook on nursing. So yeah, the book was interesting, but I wouldn't recommend it. Then I read the third book in that Aisling series. So I missed the second one. I was thinking of buying it, but then I'm kind of like on a no book buying ban this year. I'm trying to stop buying, and I'm really annoyed the library doesn't have it, and they don't even have it as an audiobook. So I couldn't read the second one. I really want to find it though somewhere. Hopefully I see it in a charity shop or something because I want to read it so I can be like, oh, I read the whole series. But anyway, I read the third one, which was called Once, Twice, Three Times an Aisling, and yeah, really funny. It was a lot more pacier than the first one, but I would also rate it 4 stars. So there was just a bit more happening, and it was a bit more upbeat. So basically, she's trying to organise a hen party for her friend, and at one point there's like 49 people going, and she's got to organise it, and she ends up swallowing some of the costs because she doesn't want to let people down, and she's like got so much to think about, and she's so stressed. Plus, she's actually set up a sort of a local bakery or like cafe, like food service, like they're providing food for events. She set that up, so I kind of want to know what happened in the second book because there's a large chunk of the story I don't actually know what happened. There's also a bit of love interest, so there's like an Englishman working locally on a building site, and there's a bit of a thing going on, and it's interesting to see how that develops. Part of the reason why I didn't read that much this month is because I was reading a couple of guidebooks, and one of them that I really enjoyed was the Lonely Planet one, but I'm not going to count these as like tick, yes, I've read a book, because I did not read it cover to cover because I only read the sections that were relevant. So this Lonely Planet one was published in April 2020, which is like such a weird time just because everything went into lockdown at that sort of time, like in March. So I think things will have changed, but yeah, I made notes, but I'm not counting that as a book I read, and I'm not going to rate it. But the fourth and final book that I read was for book club, and it is Wuthering Heights, and it's by Emily Bronte. So it's the only book that she wrote, and I think she also wrote some poems, and I think that's I don't know how many poem books there are. It is quite controversial of me to give it such a low rating because this is a classic and a lot of people enjoy it, and it's got like the most film adaptations out of all of like the Bronte books put together, I think. And there's like a whole TV series, and there's just so much about it, but I just could not follow it. I'm not a classics reader, so I would recommend this to you if you are more of a classics reader. And in terms of classics, it is more pacey and there's things happening. So like a couple of times I forced myself to read 50 pages in one stint, and there was like a 3 or 4 page period where I was like, yeah, I'm actually getting quite into this, I know what's happening. But then there's just characters kept appearing, and basically there's quite a few people with the same names. There's a few Catherines, and it just gets a bit confusing. So if you are going to read this, I would recommend looking up the family tree. But I have watched quite a few videos on YouTube explaining what happens in this book, and I've watched a few things on TV as well, and I still am confused. Just the language used, but yeah, thing is basically everyone in the story is nasty to each other. And another part of the book, which is a little bit silly of me, is there's someone called Nellie and there's someone called Ellen, and it took me through about halfway through the book to Google, are these the same people? And they are. I didn't enjoy this book, wouldn't recommend it, but if you do like classics, then I know it's been on my TBR, like I wanted to read this for such a long time, but I struggled to read it, but I did read every single page of it, so yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to try reading a bit more in March, but I'm very busy with work at the moment. Anyway, bye.